Over recent years, Privateer Press products such as War Machine and Hordes, or their fantastic P3 paint range, have been steadily disappearing from store shelves. As seemingly more and more stores abandoned their ships, speculation in wargaming spheres became rife, suggesting that Privateer Press might just be going under. The coronavirus pandemic surely didn't help this either, but as an outsider to Privateer Press, I was left genuinely believing that this company, whom I mostly knew just for great paints, were about to kick the bucket. So you can imagine my shock and surprise when last night I was shown an article suggesting that War Machine is coming back with a new edition. This much beloved set of games that had mostly passed me by purely for having the height of its popularity at the same time as my Games Workshop Tunnel Vision era was coming back. So not wanting to miss that boat for a second time, I decided to take a look at this article and have a read up on what's going on. And let me tell you, some of these ideas that might just happen in War Machine 4th edition could turn the industry on its head. Hello Wargamers, I'm Mr. Shy and welcome to the channel. If it's your first time here, or if you're a returning veteran, do please do me a favour and be sure to tickle that like button. If you like the content here and want to stick around, maybe consider subscribing, maybe consider taking a look down the description below this video where you'll see links to ways that you can support the channel. Now then, let's talk about some War Machine. The first and foremost thing that stood out to me in this announcement was not actually anything innovative particularly, just a standard from the rest of the industry, GW notwithstanding, that it was nice to see confirmed that they would conform to. War Machine Mark IV will get free stats and rules released through a digital app, much like my personal favourite Infinity. Through experience, I can tell you this makes a game so much more approachable and so much easier to dive into. However, and perhaps most excitingly, the app will also feature a subscription service that will add some additional quality of life features and most importantly, will provide lore and exclusive content. As a lore junkie and a big fan of narrative play, this is definitely a way to get me excited. What's more, it's just nice to see an attitude of making the required parts free and the juicy extras for invested players being the bits behind the paywall. And then we come to the first part that left my mouth truly agape and my mind racing at the possibilities. Privateer Press are openly promoting the fact that they will be producing the models with 3D printing. Not only this, but they'll be specifically designing them for magnetizing where practical, to allow for easy hot swapping of weapons without needing to buy a whole new kit. Now this is huge for a couple of reasons, but most obvious because not being milked for as many kits and accessories as your storage space can handle is actually kind of refreshing for most wargamers. But I also don't think we can understate just how impactful potentially the comments on 3D printing are. Up until now, most major games that are openly 3D printed in nature reside in specifically 3D printing spaces. One-page rules is probably at the front of that space, and then there's like a comet tail of smaller providers also doing similar things. The issue here, of course, is that the specifically 3D printing space within the niche of wargaming is a tiny percentage of players. And so, by default, by design, these games can never really reach their full potential. And this is entirely not helped either by things like one-page rules, for example, being viewed by a lot of people as kind of store-brand Warhammer, a view that I don't fully agree with, but do entirely understand. But with home 3D printing in general being seemingly as common as owning a houseplant these days, and the quality of models that you can make at home ever increasing, this could be an opportunity for something huge. Privateer Press will just release the files. You see, up until this point, what we've largely seen in the world of printable games is things from companies who have set out to make a printable game. But a game with a true, tested and extensive pedigree, where you can either buy or print the miniatures, if that is the way that P3 decide to go, I feel like they'll be casting a super broad net, and they could make huge waves in the greater miniature wargaming industry. I mean, let's be real here. If the options are cheaper but with more work required, or less work required but at a premium price, those are kind of the ideal options, right? For appealing to the most people. I mean, isn't that what everyone wants in any consumer product? It's kind of the same thing as buying fresh ingredients or a ready meal. The article then continues on talking about intentions for organised play, release schedules, and interestingly, an intention to tighten up on SKUs. Now, for those of you who don't know, a SKU is a stock keeping unit. That's a single individual packaged product, a unique product. So when a company makes an effort to tighten up their SKU line, it essentially means that they're going to do away with superfluous products, package things in meaningful, usable quantities, bundles and arrays, and really minimise the shelf space that stores need to dedicate to their product. And this is very important for store owners who don't want their shop to one day feature on an episode of Hoarders, and it's a very attractive feature for retailers considering buying into Warmachine. As someone who both plays a game that is pretty badly SKU bloated these days, and is also brutally aware of shop space needs from my previous experience in retail management, let me tell you that this will go down very, very well with shop owners. Finally, the article wraps up to its conclusion explaining that Hordes, which, if memory serves correctly, is the smaller engagement scale version of Warmachine, I think. Feel free to correct me on that. But that's now being wrapped up into the main game. Again, this looks like more tidying up, more streamlining, more making life easier for players and retailers. If you want to read the full article and the related articles surrounding it, I will of course drop a link to that in the description as well, so check down below after you finish watching the video. However, most importantly, I think if this all goes how it could in an ideal world go, this could be a time for real excitement in our hobby space. With companies like Corvus Belli, for example, paving the way for players in making their games as accessible as possible to everyone, this feels like it could be the next step in the evolutionary line, if handled correctly. There seems to be a real focus here on making both miniatures and rules available and affordable for all players, and a real focus on looking after stores too. I'm going to be cheering Privateer Press on for this one, and I'll definitely be keeping an eye on it to see how it develops, because Warmachine is a game that I've had recommended to me many times over the years. I own a couple of miniatures from it and they are beautiful, so it's definitely one I would consider getting into. It looks like it's going to be a good deal, and at this stage in proceedings, it really does. But more importantly than my opinions on this, what do you think of this announcement? Could it be revolutionary? Is it a big deal? Or maybe you've had more experience with Privateer Press than I have and you can see something that I'm missing here. Let me know in the comments below either way. I'd love to hear your views on Warmachine Mark IV, what you think of this announcement, and whether or not you're interested in getting into it. But until next time, folks, that is all for this one, so I will see you in the next one. I'd like to say thank you very much for watching and to wish you happy hobbying. Bye-bye for now.